I leave for Guatemala tomorrow. I am so excited and a little bit nervous. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've never been to Guatemala. It's a brand new place, a brand new experience. Not nervous in a bad way, nervous in all the best ways. Let me light my candle, because you know that I like to have my candle. I always light a candle when I do these, because candles bring me so much joy. That's all. Oops, it just went out. They make me feel grounded and calm. I am a candle person. Anybody else prefer candles over lights? I love candles. I always have candles burning, but I can't have those candles that are scented. I can't. They give me really bad headaches. Isn't that strange? So as much as I love a good candle, it has to be pretty, but it can't be scented with those perfumey scents. It actually gives me the worst headache. I feel so sick. I can't even explain it. So I always buy them and then I can't use them. I'll buy them. Anybody else will buy a really pretty candle and you're like, oh, I love how this smells, or I love the jar that it's in. This one's going to be different. And then I burn it and I'm like, I can't do it. It's making me sick every time. So now I've just learned my lesson, and I just go and I buy I love pillars and I love old candle holders. So this is a brass candle holder. See that? Isn't it gorgeous? This is a brass candle holder that was my mom's. I got my love for candles from my mom. My mom had candles everywhere all the time. On all of our dinner tables. It doesn't have to be a special occasion. My mom and I had this really great saying that was, burn your candles, use your china, drink your wine, wear your jewelry. Because why do people save candles for a special occasion, right? I don't like, okay, let's go. Okay, there was a cord in the wall and that was bothering me. Okay, this is the kind of mood I'm in today. It's the small details today. Okay, I am so excited. I want to have a really powerful conversation with you this morning about feminine energy and Jesus. And I don't even know where I'm going to go with this. It just dropped in my spirit because last night, so I had a really great day yesterday. I got to see two of my very best friends yesterday. And it was such a reassurance for me because things have been going on in my life. And I just needed some really great grounding with some of my very best girlfriends. And so I had a lunch date that was followed by a dinner date. I left my house at 1:30 and I got home at 9. And I had 2 dates. I had a girlfriend date with one girlfriend who's one of my besties, who I've been friends with forever. Actually, not forever. We became really close friends in 2020, 2021. And our friendship has just grown over time. We were talking yesterday about how it's been a slow burn with us. And we have over the years come to really, really, really love each other. And we're one of each other's people. And then I had a date with another girlfriend for dinner. So I was at lunch with one girlfriend and it was a late lunch. So it went from 2 to 5:30. And then I had a dinner date at 6. So I literally left my lunch date to go for my dinner date. And then I went for a dinner date with another girlfriend who I've known since COVID as well, actually. Strangely enough, she and I met online via Instagram during COVID, and she lives in the same city. And we used to read this, like how it started was we read the same books. This is how I meet my friends, okay? My other friend that I was talking about, I met because I wanted to run an event at her venue. And it was the Uncommon Woman Black and White Gallery. I read in 2019, I'm going to share how I meet my people. 2019, I did my second cross-country tour for Uncommon Woman. And I needed a venue, where I could have a speaking event and the gallery. And so I went to her art gallery, ended up hiring her and her team and the space. And I held Uncommon Woman Tour Thunder Bay in her venue. Isn't that amazing? And now she and I are super close friends. Like, we just adore each other. And she's an artist. And then in 2021, I held the first ever Uncommon Woman Black and White Gallery in her actual art gallery. So that was where the Uncommon Woman Black and White Gallery. And for those of you who are new in my world, I'll tell you what that is in a minute. But there are going to be women on here who are in my gallery, in my black and white gallery. So in 2021, she actually co-hosted my black and white gallery in her art gallery. She framed all of the pictures. She's an actual artist. So she set all the pictures. It was stunning. And it was a fundraiser for women leaving abusive relationships and moving into shelters. And that's how I met her. So, we were already aligned, right? Because she wanted to support the black and white gallery. She wanted to support my work. We have very similar, and she has her own story. In fact, her picture was in the black and white gallery. She was a cancer survivor. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is how I met friend number one. Friend number two, we met via Instagram because we read the same books. And during COVID, somehow she came through my feed. I think she was a friend of my brother's. And so I sent her a message and I said, I love the books that you read. This is how I meet my friends. I love the books that you read. And, you got to put yourself out there, right? With Dee, the one who owned the gallery, we just became friends because we started collaborating, and then we started going for coffee dates, and then we started going for lunch dates, and then our lunch dates got really long, and then we were in a little biz mastermind together, and we were just supporting each other's business. And then we were always talking about business. Then we got talking about friendship, and then we got talking about relationships, and now we're just each other's people, right? Isn't that gorgeous? And then Carrie, the one who I met via Instagram, she and I met during COVID. She reads great books. I read great books. And I sent her a message, said, hey, I love the books that you're reading. And this is all tied together for the Uncommon Woman Global Ministry message this morning. Okay? By the way, my name is Romy Marlowe, founder of Uncommon Woman Global Ministry. In case you're new to my community, there are lots of new people here. I love you. So Carrie, the one that I went for dinner with, I went for lunch with Dee, curator, artist, person. And then I went for lunch or dinner with Carrie. Sorry if I'm confusing you guys. I hope not. And Carrie, I met through Instagram, read the same books, went for a dog walk during COVID because it had to be socially distanced, really, really liked each other. And so we have become good friends. We golf together. We go for lunch. We share guy stories, dating stuff. We share work stuff. She's an investment. She manages investments. She's incredible. She's a worker outer. So we have our fitness in common. We just have a lot in common. And so she and I went for dinner last night. But here's where I'm going with this. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Dreamweaver. Good morning, the New York Loop. Ooh, I love that. Somebody in New York. Hi. Good morning, DIY 180s, Alki Remir, Joanne, Amy's here. And then over here, I've got Shay. Good morning, Lisa. Who else? All the gorgeousnesses. You guys say hello in the comments, because when you comment, then I can see who's here. I've never had a great friend, but God is showing me about community and not raising kids, but a true woman connection. That is so important. It's actually what I'm going to be talking about this morning. So how perfect that you're here for this. So yesterday, when Carrie and I were talking, we were talking about the feminine energy and being receivers, like vessels for receiving. And we were talking about how in relationship, women are built to receive first and then give. Okay, so it's not rocket science. Let me talk about childbirth. This is our physiology. This is science. This is also the way that we thrive. And tell me if I'm wrong, okay? But when we receive, in other words, when people give to us, put a yes in the comments if you agree with what I'm about to say. Let me finish in case you don't agree. But when we receive, when people give to us to fill us up, we then are able to birth out, give in return more fully and completely. So our bodies are vessels for receiving. Yes, I mean, let's look at our physiology. This is so important because our physiology is connected to our emotional body. Our physical body is connected to how we do well in the world. We were built a certain way because it's actually where we function at our highest level, right? And so women are receivers. We receive, and from the receiving, from the receiving, we grow and we birth incredible things like human beings, for example. Hey, hi, Rose. Rosemary, everybody say hi to Rosemary on Facebook. She's my oldest friend. Rosemary, her mom and my mom. I have such, I'm so blessed I could cry. I have the most amazing women in my life. Rosemary and I have been friends since we were little itsy bitsies. Our mothers were besties. And my mom died a few years ago. Her mom's still kicking. They were exactly 10 years apart. So I believe that Beeve, her mom is bad. Beeve, we call her Beeve. I think she's 94 this year. And they were just best of friends. And Rosemary and I have remained friends all our lives. And we just love each other. And I know that I could phone her and she would be here in 1 second. That's a friend, right? And when my mom had cancer, she actually probably saved my mom's life. And I'm not kidding you, because she's a nurse practitioner, but she's also more than that, an educator at Queen's University, in the university there for nurse practitioners. And she just sent emails to the hospital saying, we need to figure this out. Anyway, it's a whole situation. If you get the right people in your corner, and you keep them close and you treat them well and you love them well, they will give, and then you will receive, and then you can give to them fully. And I would be there for her in a heartbeat, just the same way. So it's funny that Rose is here, because she's a really good example of a really, really good friend who has never betrayed me, who I don't even know, Rose, like if we've ever had I'm sure when we were little girls, because she was my best friend when I was a little girl, we probably had like arguments or something, but I don't remember. Like, we just have a love. We just love each other. That's it. And we don't have the same lives. And, she lives in a different city, but we fill each other up enough in our friendship. Our friendship is just love. That's all it is. And so when we're talking about receiving and giving, what I'm saying is, as women, we thrive when we're in relationships, whether it is with men or women or children. Now, children, if it's our children, your children, I don't have kids, but I know that moms give way more than they receive. But what I do know about mothers is the little that they do receive feels like their hearts are full. Like, my girlfriends will say, my child, and all you moms probably agree, let me know. My child sent me one text yesterday that said, Mom, I miss you. And it made my whole month. Because a mother's love is so big. It doesn't take much. Like, this is the really crazy thing about the love of children. And we could transfer this over to the way that God loves us, right? Is that it's just the little itsy bitsy things that we do that can just be so much. They can just be so much, right? And so anyway, last night when my girlfriend Carrie and I were talking, we were talking about being in feminine energy in relationship, because she and I are both bosses. She has her own business as an investment manager, right? As an account manager. And I have my own businesses, as you know. And I said to her, we give a lot. We're bosses. Like, and Rosie's a boss, Leanne's a boss. Like, a bunch of you here are bosses. You have your businesses, or you have really big careers. Like, you're a boss in your family. You're a boss in your life. I know that all of you are going to resonate with this, because this is probably one of the number one things that I talk about with my clients is feminine energy. And we're going to talk about it through ministry and through, kind of faith today, because people think that it has to be hard-edged, and it doesn't. Okay? It does not have to be hard-edged. We don't have to hit people over the head with, for example, a Bible just because we have faith. Okay? And this is what I want to talk about today, because everybody has church hurt. There is so much church hurt. There is so much resentment to religion right now. Hello, I get it. Religion is organized. Jesus was not a religion guy. Remember that. He was not a religion guy. He was a love guy. And so when I come here and I talk about Uncommon Woman Global Ministry, I'm talking about love. I'm talking simply about love. I do not talk about religion. I do not talk about sectors. I do not talk about denominations. I will not do that, because that is not the language of love. That separates people instantly, right? There's them and us. We're not doing that here. Okay, coming back to feminine energy. As women in relationship with men or our partners, we get to be in our feminine energy. Now, What does that mean? That means that we get to release control of everything. Now that's hard because we want to control everything. But how do you feel? Answer me this. How does it feel when you try to control everything and it doesn't work? How does it feel? Because we all know that we can't actually control other people. So if you're in a marriage, in a relationship, if you have clients, if you have patients, if you have children and you try to control them, you will fail. You will fail. There's a difference between control and guide. Yes? So you can guide your clients, you can guide your patients, you can guide your children, you can guide your partner into how to love you. But if you try to control, like, how do you feel when somebody tries to control you? Just asking for a friend, okay? Like, when you try to control people, how does that work for you? We could talk about this with children, and I don't have children, but I have a lot of friends who have children. And you know, the friends of mine that have children that are the most relaxed and the happiest are the ones that have released control. They're like, I can't control what my child does. I can love my child. I can want what is best for my child. I can want what is best for me. I can want what is best for them. But I can't make them do anything. But I can have boundaries, right? I can say, if you're going to be a crazy alcoholic, you're not going to do that in my house. If you're going to be crazy abusive, you go and you do that because I can't change you, but you're not going to do that here. Tag people in the comments if they need to hear this. This is a really important message. This is about women being in their feminine energy and being in love. And we can talk about this. I'm going to connect it all back to faith because see, people, I have seen so many yucky Christians and religious people in gross masculine energy in their faith. And I just want to run in the other direction. I don't find it magnetic. I don't think it's powerful. I see these men up on pulpits going, rah, 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 and I'm like, I'm out of here. Because that's never how Jesus was. Never, never. He didn't talk like that. And then we wonder why people have church hurt. Then we wonder why people are like, why are you talking about your faith? Why are you going public with your faith? You're going to lose your business. You know what? No, I'm not. Because I'm going to talk to people about what it's really about. And then the people who want to stay are going to stay, and the people who want to go are going to go. But I actually believe that there are so many women. You know how many women pull me into corners and say, I love that you're talking about your faith. I should screenshot my chat for you guys. I should screenshot my DMs for you guys because you probably don't even believe me. You know what my DMs are like right now? I think it's amazing that you're talking about your faith. I love your perspective on faith. I was hurt in the church. I was sexually molested by such and such. I've got so much church hurt. I've got so much resistance. And I love the way you're talking about God. You're just talking about God. You're not talking about the church. And it's actually making me think again about the fact that I do believe, but I haven't been able to talk about it with anybody. Because whenever I try to talk about my faith or I try to question it or anything, people shut me down or say, oh yeah, that's BS or what. And I don't even they think they're doing me a favor, but I don't get to share what I'm actually thinking. And so I am actually on here because you know me, I go first. I'm actually on here saying, if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. Because you guys, I get it. I actually get it. 2 years ago, you would not have seen me on here doing this. Never in a million years. But then something changed. I softened. My mom was dying and I looked at her one day. This is a true story. And my mom was the most feminine person in the whole wide world. She didn't have a masculine bone in her body, actually. Like, Rose is on here, I think, still. Rose, did my mom have did you ever see my mom in her masculine? I actually just thought about this now. My mother never was in her masculine. I actually am going to have to think about it. Wow, that's crazy. My mother said to me when she was dying, she had terminal cancer. She's sitting there with no hair and a little thing on her head. And she was peaceful. We were looking out at the lake. I might cry. I don't always cry when I tell this story. But she was so beautiful. And she was sitting there looking out at the lake. In her earrings and this big ring. And her little bandana on her head. And she was so peaceful. And she was dying. And chemo was killing her from the inside out. And I said to her, how are you so calm? How are you able to sit through this with such grace? You know what she said? My faith, sweetheart, my faith. And that was the moment that everything changed for me. Because I knew that if she could be in that beautiful energy in the midst of hell, absolute physical hell, that she was onto something. That there was something that I had missed in my faith that she had seen. Sorry. Ooh. I'm feeling all the feels today. I love her so much. Sorry. That's why I come on here and do this. Because people are suffering. And I was suffering. And my suffering actually stopped. I can't tell you, you guys, my suffering stopped when I came back to God. I don't even want to say my faith because it waters it down. When I came back to God, my life changed. I had spent so many years away. And I was pretty lost. And when she said that, I looked at her. And I know I've told this story so many times. So I apologize if you've heard it 1,000,001 times. But it's the reason why I'm here. And I said to her, I need that in my life. And she didn't even say, yes, you do. Because that would have been masculine. That would have been her controlling me. She just smiled. You guys, that's God. That's how God, that's my church. So when I talk about my faith in God and being more like Jesus, I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about actual God. Like, I'm talking about what it has done for my life in a way that I can't even explain. My girlfriends sit and I tell them all these stories and I say it's a God thing. And you know what? They actually are at a point now where they're like, I can't believe your life. It's just one miracle after another. Since when? Since that moment. I feel like I need to write a book called It's a God Thing, because I have so many crazy stories where quantum leaps have happened in my life and in my business. And it's a God thing because there's no explanation for it. My life did not work like that before. There were moments, but it has been a waterfall of miracles. And it's because I surrendered, and surrender is feminine. Do you see that? When you are in labor, if you try to hold the baby in and control the birthing process, what happens? If we try to control people, what happens? If we let go and let God, what happens? Surrender is feminine. So what's really important that I want to share with you today is that if you release the religious thing and you release the indoctrination, you just release it. You just choose to just not, you're like, I'm just not going to even I'm just going to release it. I don't care if you were born into an Anglican church or a Catholic, like, because that wasn't your choice. What if you just say, I'm just going to release everything and I'm just going to love, because love is feminine. I'm going to surrender, because surrender means I don't have to try to control anything. I can just give it up to God. And you guys, my mom just gave it up to God. I mean, that's just one example, but I think of all of the hard edges that women have right now. There's a lot of hard edges on women. You know, we're afraid to get married because we don't want somebody to control us. We're afraid, you know, there's so many things, like women are carrying families and businesses, and there's single moms who aren't getting their, you know, their child support, and they're trying to feed the kids, and the dad's off to, like, women are actually carrying so much, and the world has made us a little bit hard-edged. And I want you to understand that being a woman, a powerful, strong, God-led woman, does not mean that you have to have hard, sharp edges. You can have soft edges. You don't have to have any edges at all. We can just, I'm crying because I'm so, like, sorry, it's just the whole mom thing. But I watched my mom suffer, and yet the more she suffered, the stronger her faith became. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, the more she surrendered, the stronger her relationship with God became. Not her relationship with her religion, not a church, with God. And this is what I'm trying to tell you, is that if you are somebody who's had church hurt, or you see all the things going on in the world and all of the division, you go, this is God doing, it's not God doing that, that's humans. This is man doing this. God doesn't do that. And Jesus, in the midst of a storm, Jesus was the calm. Jesus went and spoke to people who were considered his enemy, and he did it not to convert them, but simply to love them. And then he would say, this is what you have access to if you surrender. This is what you have access to if you repent. Which, do you understand what the word repent means? You know what repent means? I hated that word. I used to hate that word, like up until like last week. I felt it was really like authoritative. You know what repent means? Anybody look it up? It means to go back home. That's actually what it means, to return home. Now, when I heard my pastor say that, my shoulders dropped. And I thought, see, man makes things out to be so sharp-edged. But the word repent means to come home. Now, does that feel sharp-edged to you? Put a yes or a no in the comments. If repent, meaning come back home, feels sharp-edged to you, put a yes in the comments. And if it feels soft and loving and safe, put a no in the comments. See, we take things. Humanity takes things and sharpens it and makes it hard to understand and makes it constrictive. But God is not like that. He is limitless in his love. He is soft-edged. He's incredibly forgiving. He doesn't judge us and ice us out. He doesn't put us on the back burner and say, I need time to process. No. He says, come back here. Come home. It's such a relief to know that that's actually what that means. I'm saying all of this to you because it's really important that as women, we allow ourselves to move into our faith in our feminine energy. We don't have to be strong-armed and edgy women to be women of faith. We don't need to be, nor should we ever, be out there judging people who aren't, God's girls. That's not our problem. Who cares? I care in that I want them to be happy, but it's not my job to go and fix everybody. All I can do is just show up here and say, this is what this has done for me. And it has made me more soft-edged and feminine. I've had women come up to me, people that I've known for a long time, and say, I love your energy now. And I'm not telling you that because, oh, I'm all that about ball of wax. What I'm saying is I think I was a little bit sharp-edged before. And some people liked my sharp edge because for a lot of people, it's what they needed more of in their life, they thought. They needed more badassery. They needed more like, oh. But what if we could just be gentle and soft? What if we could just be loving and leading at the same time? I'm leading a retreat in Guatemala. I leave tomorrow. I fly out Friday, and the women join me on Sunday. And the name of the retreat is called Lead with Love. Because that's where I'm going. It's all about leading with love. And love is not punishment. Love is not processing. Love is not freezing people out. Love is not resentment. Love is not, I'll talk to you when it works for me. That's not what God does. What he says is, man, you keep messing up. You keep messing up. But come home. It's okay. Because I don't ever want to push you so far away that you don't ever come back. Do you see that? Let that land. 1,001 times we can sin. And by that, just do what we know is not the right thing. But he will take us back 1,002. So how are we doing as women with that? When people hurt us? Now, this doesn't mean that we need to go back to the thrift store. As PK said this, Pastor Kim, I love it, Real Talk Kim. She said, don't go back to the thrift store and buy back the stuff that you brought there. So we can love people from afar. But when people wrong us or when people hurt us, how often do we forgive? All the time? Because I hear a lot of people saying, I don't know if I can forgive this one. Okay. So just a reminder, there were a bunch of people who decided that Jesus needed to be nailed. If you believe the story, if you celebrate Christmas, then for all the right reasons, and I assume that if you believe in the way he was born, I'm going to assume that you believe the way he died, unless you have a different theory. Okay? So let's not pretend, let's not be pretendy God people. If you celebrate Christmas and the birth of Jesus, then you must believe, I'm assuming, that he died. He had a beautiful birth, but he had a terrible death. Right? So a bunch of people said, we're going to nail you alive by your hands to a wooden cross. And he forgave him anyway. Right? Now, I don't think that if Jesus had survived that and popped down, that those would be the people that he would hang out with. Because their hearts weren't right. But he forgave them. Who do you need to forgive? Where do you need to soften your edges? Where do you need to be more in your feminine? Because feminine is love. Put words in the comments that you think of when you think of women and their feminine energy. Love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, peace, beauty, mothering, warmth, strategy, organization, big picture thinking. Nurturing, growth, leadership. I mean, the reality is that when we actually think about women of God who are leading from love. That it's all of the beautiful feminine energy words that come to mind. That's why women are such incredible leaders when it comes to leading communities back to God, because we do it from a different perspective. We do it from love. We do it from forgiveness and compassion and expansion. Live Out Loud, Brooke. Brooke, if you're here, I want everybody to go and follow her. I've been watching your stuff. I don't know if you're still here. Live Out Loud, Brooke. And I think Lizzie was here. These are women, just two women who happen to pop up on my Instagram, who I know from years back. Both of them lead with love. And these are God women who are building massive platforms. But they lead with their feminine energy. And they're building entire movements. This is the power of women. When we actually lead for God, not for a religion, but for God, and we walk more like Jesus, it's different. Women are incredible when it comes to this kind of leadership. So the invitation today, if you were here for the story about my mom was an incredible leader in the church. She was the chair of the board at her church till the day she died. She never gave up her position because it was so important to her. But one of the things that was really powerful about my mom was that she would sit at tables where there was conflict. And she would sit at tables where people were in disagreement, whether it was theology or basic conversations about what to do during COVID at the church. And she always took it back to what would Jesus do? She always took it back to God. She always took it back to love. That's what made her so incredible as a leader. Is that it was never about her. It was never about her opinions. It was never about the other people. It was actually about what would Jesus do? How would Jesus, as a community of believers who want to have an impact and bring more people to God, make heaven more full. What's the right thing to do? Not what's the thing to do that we're expected to do, but what's the right thing to do? And let me tell you, as a woman leader sitting at a table, she took a lot of, she took flack. But people trusted her because she led from love, right? And as women, we know that women aren't necessarily welcomed with open arms in many spaces when it comes to God and faith and speaking up. But I don't need to get into all of the women that Jesus walked beside and sat with and said, go build ministry in his own way. I think of the woman at the well. I talked about this, I think on Monday or last Friday, about how he sat with her. And by the time they were done, she went and got throngs of people and brought them back. And right there, she built a ministry. It's not about whether you're male or female. It's about where your heart is. What's your heart posture? I am so moved by all of the people around me whose faith in God is shifting. They're starting to see that this isn't about a church. We shouldn't be worshiping a church. We shouldn't be worshiping people. We shouldn't be serving people. We're serving God. And I think it's really important for us to remember, because when we serve God, we don't have to worry about what people's opinions are. We can soften our edges. You don't love me? That's okay. God does. It's just such a shift. I can't even begin to tell you how it's impacted the way that I move through everything. So I wanted to talk to you this morning about that, about activating the relationship with Jesus that allows us to be as women in our feminine, to surrender, to love, to give, and be served in return. What if we just softened? What if we just stopped being angry? What if we just said, the church hurt stuff, it was crappy, but it's in my past, and I don't need to do my future walk with God with those people. I'm going to shift gears. That's what I did. And I don't have church hurt. I just kind of was like, I didn't resonate. And sometimes it's that. We don't have to act all traumatized. Like, again, it's a hard edge thing. I just wasn't resonating with the theology, I guess, for lack of a better term, with the church that I was originally brought up in. It doesn't mean that they're bad people at all. Beautiful people. But I needed to find my own way, and it took me 30 years. And now I'm back, and now it's different. And I'm not trying to make it something more than it is. Now, some of you have real church hurt in that there's been trauma, there's been abuse, there's been excommunication and all kinds of terrible things. And I see that, but also, when are you going to set it down? Right? I mean, I'd go to God about it. I would say, I know that this wasn't you. This was people trying to act through you, using you as an excuse to be abusive and controlling. But that's not how God is. He has two laws. Love your neighbor as yourself and love God with all your heart. Those are the two things. Everything is on that. Those aren't controlling. They're moralistic. Wouldn't the world be a better place if we loved our neighbors as ourselves? Like, is he wrong? Is it bad to say, love yourself so much that you love your neighbors equally well? Because there's a pandemic, or an epidemic, I guess is the right word, of self-hate, of self-loathing, especially with women. What if we just started there? I'm going to start loving myself more, because when I do that, I'm actually just a better person all around to everybody. True story, right? I love you, and I want you to be happy and relaxed and softened in your life. We don't have to plow through life running over everybody, trying to protect ourselves. That's not actually self-protection. That's running over everybody. Different. Right? Jesus is not asking you to get it together first. He's asking you to come first. I love that. So just think about that for a minute. Jesus isn't asking you to get it together first, then come in. He's saying, come in, come home. It's where you are with me that will provide you peace and healing. Come home. This is where it will be. So many people feel unworthy. Yeah, but would he love me? Would the people in my community love me if they know this about me, that I've had lots of lovers, or that I was an addict, or that I'm bad with money, or that, I have mental illness, or whatever, like you name it. Yeah, actually, you're fine. Because when you get into his world, it is there that you will see how loved you are. And then you go, oh, this is real love. This isn't church love. This isn't religion love. This isn't denominational whatever. I'm going to create my own church in my heart with God, and I'm just going to be there. And then maybe I'm going to find a community like Uncommon Woman Global Ministry, like this space. where we talk about love first. I'm learning how to do that with all you guys. Softer is not easy. It can be. It's just, okay, Ash, I literally just said to my mom, I need more of that. And I became softer. See, this is where we put roadblocks in our own way. Oh, it's so hard. Is it? Isn't it harder to be sharp-edged? I think being sharp-edged is harder. It's exhausting. It's why so many women are burnt out. And it's why heart disease is the number one killer of women. Because we're living in our masculine. We're running, we're pushing, we're grinding, we're stressed, we're carrying it all. We're trying to do everything. That's hard. You know what's not hard? Surrendering and saying, you know what? God's got me. I'm going to go and I'm going to put feet to my faith. I'm not going to sit around and go, oh, okay, he's going to pay my bills. No, that's like that. I also don't talk about that. I talk about putting feet to your faith and going out there, making an impact and doing your work. But worry actually attracts more stress. You realize that, right? The law of reciprocity. If you are stressed and worried all the time, guess what? When people say when it rains it pours, why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Because if it's not raining, the sun is out. Sun's out, bun's out. We decide if it's hard. I'll tell you what's hard. Living a life that's stressed and anxious and sleepless and unhealthy and toxic because we're carrying around stuff that we can't even control. We're carrying around a past that's already happened. Nothing's going to change. We're carrying around church hurt that happened that's not going to change. We're carrying around relationships that are toxic and we can't change the people. And we walk around going, life is so hard. Actually, it's only hard if you're carrying. My mom used to talk about, she has this really great analogy. She said, people carry around a bag of crap with them. So it's like a black garbage bag and you sling it over your shoulder and it starts when you're young and you put stuff in it, all the junk and the stinky stuff that's happened to you. And you carry it. And then you put more stuff in that bag as you get older. And so that bag gets bigger and heavier, but you continue to carry it and you're walking in the sun. And so it's getting really stinky and it's moldy, but you're still hanging on to it, even though it stinks, even though it's getting heavy. And she said, and people carry this bag and it gets bigger and bigger and stinkier, really toxic. And then there comes a point when they look around and there's nobody around them anymore. And they think, where is everybody? But what they're not seeing is because they're so used to it that they're carrying around this huge toxic black bag of poo, basically, of junk, of crap, that they have gathered through their whole life. And they're choosing to carry it. And they're losing people. And it's getting worse. And now it's getting to the point where it's affecting their health. Now it's getting to the point where it's affecting the way that they walk. Now it's getting to the point where it's affecting their relationships. And they basically have to hit rock bottom. They have to have a health scare where like the toxicity is killing them, or they lose everybody, or they start losing people that they really love. And then one day they go, oh my gosh. All along, I've been carrying this thing and I've been so used to it. And I've been carrying it with such pride and anger that I've actually forgotten it was even there. And all I got to do is just go like this. I surrender. And I'm going to set it down. And I'm going to say, thank you. Thank you for the role that you played in my life. I have learned so much from that big bag of poo. And then you just walk away. And then your load is lighter. People start to come back because you don't stink anymore. You're not toxic anymore. You're not talking about all the stuff in the past that you can't change. Your health comes back. You get stronger. You feel lighter. All of a sudden you can see around you and your world changes. That is the power of surrender. And I used to love that analogy. And every once in a while, my mom and I would have conversations, and she'd say, I think you're carrying your bag of, and I'd say, oh, I am. Are you carrying it with your badge of honor? Like, I have gone through all of these things. Look at everything that I've been through. Let's talk about it. I'm such a warrior. Warriors heal their wounds and keep moving. They don't stand on the front lines and say, did you see what happened 5 years ago? No. They look ahead. That's what warriors do. They stand on the front lines and they look at what's in front of them. They don't turn and look at what's behind them. So you might feel like a warrior, but if you're carrying a big bag of toxic crap around all the time, that's not warrior. That's not what warriors do. Warriors set it down, accept the battle, but they go fight the war, which is much bigger. And we get to do that from a place of love. We get to do that from a place of, I surrender all of the junk because I choose to not live like that. It's just a choice, but I'm choosing. And I'm not going to... Now, if you want, you can take that bag and you can scoop out 1 cup of crap at a time, and it'll get lighter over time. But let's just look at the timeline here for a minute, okay? You're carrying your big bag of crap. It's taken you a lifetime to fill. And now you're going to take a lifetime to empty it? Really? Really? Gosh. Or what if you just said, I'm not actually just going to release it 1 cup of poop at a time? And you have to watch, if you're just jumping on now, you have to go like back a bit so you can see the analogy. Or what if you just set the whole thing down at once? Because you've already spent your lifetime filling the bag. Do you really want to spend your lifetime emptying it? Like, let's look at this. Or do you just want to walk from here on out without it? Like, how is it serving you? When people say I'm letting go, I think to myself, okay, so how is it serving you, the letting go process? Like, why not just set it all down? Why do we let things go 1 speck at a time, 1 cup of poop at a time? Like, what happens if we just set it all down and we just start fresh? Like, why do we hang on to things? I'll tell you why. Because it's where we built our identity. My identity is being in divorce. My identity is being a survivor. My identity is being abused. My identity is X, Y, and Z. How's that working out for you? I read this really great thing when I was in, I'm going to find it. Where is it? Where's my little devotional Bible? I have this cute little devotional book, and it has this whole thing about identity. It's not in here. And basically, the premise is we're actually children of God. That's your, if you are a real, like I am full on in my belief right now. I'm back all the way. You know how I identify? I don't identify as a coach. I don't identify as a mentor. I don't identify, people say, what do you do? That's one thing. But you know what I identify as? Not a survivor of abuse, not a woman who's never been married, not a mom, no, I identify as a child of God, as a God's girl. I like to say God's girl. That's how I identify. What if you just identified it as God's girl? Understanding exactly how do you do it all at once? You just do it. You just say, I am no longer carrying this. See, we don't even know. It's kind of like when you quit smoking. Like, I quit smoking in 2007. I quit smoking in 2007. I didn't say, I'm going to wean myself off cigarettes. I'm going to go from a pack a day or half a pack in the weekends when I'm drinking or whatever to a quarter of a pack. Because it was still killing me. I stopped smoking. I made the decision. I stopped buying cigarettes. That's how you do it. And I understand that this might be a difficult concept because we have spent our lives hanging on to things. But I'm going to tell you something. When you actually start letting go all the way, like release. I'm not even going to say letting go one bit at a time. When you release it completely, you're going to be like, why did I not do that 20 years ago? I have a friend who still talks about the guy that she was married to when she was in her 20s, and he was such a jerk, and they had kids together and they got divorced. She still talks about it. It's part of her identity. And people have actually stopped hanging out with her. It's a really good example of people eventually say, I'm so done with this. Like, you need to let that go, like release it, because it has no place for you anymore. And everybody's tired of it. We don't want to be around it. It's toxic. It's boring. It's old. There's a whole world out there that you could live in, but you're choosing to be here and I'm out. Like, I love you, but you're not allowing yourself to be joyful. So how do you let go? You just say, I am surrendering it to God. I'm giving it up. And then you might stand there and go, who am I now? And then you spend some time quiet. Man, I spent my whole life, identifying as a divorcee or somebody who was abused or a survivor or whatever. And those are all realities of experiences, but they're not who you are. Who you are is how you identify. We hang on to the past because we're afraid that if we let it go, we might not have anything to talk about. I actually know people who are like, if I stop talking about my ex, what am I going to talk about? And then they laugh. And I'm like, actually, that's not funny. That's a really good question. Because if you don't have that person to talk about, you might actually have to start talking about yourself. And that's a whole other thing. Because wanting to criticize or tell all the reasons why the other person isn't right makes it easy for us to not talk about why we're not right. Because relationships are made of two people. And I always say to people, write this down. I am the common denominator in every relationship that I've ever been in. And if that relationship isn't working, and then this relationship isn't working, and then that relationship isn't working, and then that relationship over there is working, there's a really good chance that maybe I'm not operating at my highest potential. And that doesn't make me bad. It just makes me human. And I'm going to go fix that. You are the common denominator of every relationship. If you let that guy in, then go figure out why you did that. He might be a terrible person, but you stayed. He might have been cheating, but you had kids with him. He might have been whatever, but you, excuse me, can we please take a look at our own responsibility? So when people say, how do I let it go? Here's my answer. This just came to me. Let it go and then turn around and try to figure out how you got so screwed up and then go fix it. That'll give you something to do. And I mean that in the most loving way because that's what I had to do. I finally had to say, man, things are screwed up. And then I had to do a whole lot of work to unscrew up everything. Right? So there's a lot of work out there for you. Don't worry, you're not going to be bored twiddling your thumbs saying, well, now that I don't have this person or this situation to complain about, I got nothing to do. Yeah, you do. There's a whole lot for you to do. And it starts with you working on you. Right? I am the common denominator in every relationship. Write that down and then journal about it. All the things that I have done in my old little heart that I know were wrong in that relationship. I cheated, or I lied, or I was controlling, or I was manipulative, or I was jealous, or I was emotionally abusive. Excuse me. I withdrew love. I iced him out. I was critical. I was name calling. Let's talk about our own stuff. Were you perfect in that relationship? Because are you sitting at the table at dinner saying, tonight I'm going to talk about how I screwed up in that marriage? When was the last time that you said, you know what, everybody, I'm having all my girlfriends over. I'm getting all worked up. I'm having all my girlfriends over tonight, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit and talk about how I screwed up in my marriage. That's the topic. Tonight, it's about me. Tonight, we're all going to sit around and talk about how we screwed up, how we were maybe not the greatest parents. We're not going to talk about our children. We're going to talk about how we could have been better parents. Tonight, I'm having a Galentine's. I can't even imagine all the Galentine's rooms are going to be talking about how messed up men are. Okay, I don't want anything to do with that. I actually don't. Because if there are messed up men in your life, then it's because you chose them. Okay, so back to Galentine's. I would love to sit at a table. This is my kind of table. And I know you might think, I don't want to hang out with her. But the women who come to my retreats, the women who are in my programs, let me tell you, when they start talking about other people, I say, turn that frown upside down. I want you to talk about you for a minute. And so let's all sit around at Galentine's and talk about what terrible wives we were, or what terrible girlfriends we were, and that how we're growing and how we're changing. And we're going to laugh at all the stupid stuff that we did. Like sit outside our boyfriend's house, our ex-boyfriend's house, and wait to see who pulls up in his driveway. Like, that's not creepy. Like, let's talk about the guys that we were texting while we were in relationship with them and they were cheating, but we were let's talk about that. Let's throw it on the table and say, I'm going to tell you all the reasons why I wasn't a good partner. Or maybe I just was with somebody that I didn't actually love, but I loved their money. Maybe I was with that guy, but blah, blah. Like, let's talk about that. What's important is for us to focus on us. I'm tired of sitting around hearing people talk about how terrible their partners are. Yeah? Maybe you need to decide that you've made a choice that you don't like. So then let him go. And if you're not going to let him go, then stop talking about it. Stop talking about how terrible they are and start talking about the fact that you are the common denominator in that relationship. Like, the clarity that I'm having right now is mind-blowing about so many things. Anyway, that's feminine. See, feminine is how, okay, so we're going to come back to feminine energy, then I'm going to go, because it's 10:33. I'm only supposed to go for an hour. You guys, you know I could talk this is why I have to have events and retreats, because I need more time to talk. I'm running a retreat in Guatemala called Lead with Love, and I'm meeting 3 of my leaders there, and we are going to spend a week together. And guess what we're going to be talking about? This stuff. Because these women are going out and they're changing lives, and we got to make sure our hearts are postured properly. Right? I don't know what I was going to say. I was going to say something. But this is what's really important. Oh, coming back around to feminine energy. This is feminine. This is feminine. I've been thinking. Thank you for the stars. I've been thinking about this is feminine energy. Write this down. Watch this. I don't know. Record it in your journal. Something. I've been thinking about my role. Why is this feminine? Because it's reflective and nurturing and loving. I've been reflecting on my role in this relationship. And I can see where I've hurt you. I can see where I've made mistakes. Wow, I can see that I'm the common denominator in all of the relationships I've ever had that haven't worked. And I'm also the common denominator in all of the relationships that have worked, that I'm in. I know I'm a good person. I know that I just want love. I just want to be happy and healthy and be in something that feels good. And I think that's why I've been resisting. I think that's why I've been hard-edged, because what I really want is love. So I'm here for it. I'm here for a conversation, not a fight, but a real conversation. I'm here to tell you all of the things that I've done, because I always want you to lay your truth out on the line and tell me every single thing that you've done, So I guess I better own up and start talking about the things that I've done. And it's going to be scary because maybe it won't be okay with you. But I'm strong and I'm wise and I'm feminine and I'm fierce. And I know that God's got me because I'm surrendering, and this is what I know to be true. I want to be better. So I'm not going to talk about you anymore to my friends and then expect them to accept you into their homes with open arms after I trashed you and told them everything. I'm not going to gossip about you or tell everybody around us how terrible you are. Instead, I'm going to start talking about me. I'm going to start talking about the things that I need to do to change my life. I'm going to start talking about my responsibility. On Galentine's, I'm going to write you a love letter. On Valentine's Day, I'm going to write you a love letter, and I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you are somebody who deserves love. On Galentine's, I'm going to talk about all of the ways that I have failed relationships, because that's how we grow. But I'm going to stop carrying around my bag of crap, and I'm going to set it down, 100% of it. I'm not going to take it out scoop by scoop. Now, if I choose to do that, I'm not going to complain about it because it's my choice. But I'm going to set that bag down and I'm going to walk. Because I'm ready for more. I'm a God's girl. And God's got me. And I have work to do. I have lives to change and people to support. And nobody wants to work with somebody who's toxic. Nobody wants to be around somebody who's carrying a big bag of poop. Nobody wants to listen to that. They got their own stuff. So if I want to actually be a real leader and lead with love, I need to posture my heart right. And it's not going to be easy, but baby, it's going to be good. You guys, I cried. That was a good one. Okay. I love you. I want you to be happy. Listen, Uncommon Woman Global Ministry is my little corner of the world where women of faith come together and talk about these things. So if you want to be in my world and you want to get more of this, come into Uncommon Woman Global Ministries. $29 a month. We meet 4 times a month. You can go to RomiMarlowe.com, scroll down, or look at Uncommon Woman. It's right there. This is, people are saying to me, I want this. I need this in my life. You need to get in my space then, because we will walk together through this. And you got to do it around other women who want the same thing. And if you're looking for business coaching, right? I've been doing the Legacy Business Lives every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. And right now we're talking about stepping into your calling. And all of this is tied together. This is why I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday Uncommon Women Global Ministry Live. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, I'm doing the Legacy Business Live, because if we want to have strong businesses, we have to have well-postured hearts, right? If we want to be leaders, we got to lead with love. If we want to have an impact, we need to be impressionable, right? We need to actually do work on ourselves if we want those businesses. So it's the perfect storm. And the Crushing It Collective is my business mastermind. So the women who work with me in my business mastermind, it's a group mind actually, they get this 10x. And what I think is really important is that in that space, we don't just talk about business, we talk about our hearts. We talk about being women of God and also building strong businesses. And because it's a smaller space, everybody gets my attention and their businesses are changing. So if you're needing business mentorship, if you're somebody who wants to make an impact and you're like, I need to have these conversations, because if I want to build the business that I want to build, I can't be distracted by all the crap in my life. If I want to actually be a world changer, I need somebody to hold me accountable. I actually need the steps. I actually need the support and the sister, because right now I'm talking about it, but I'm not doing anything. Get into the Crushing It Collective. It's $129 a month, or like $349 for 3 months. It's a life-changing program. I actually don't understand when people talk about business and talk about being involved in things, but they don't take steps. Just do it. Stop buying $600 worth of clothes, used clothes at the thrift store, and invest in your business for 3 months. And then you'll be able to invest in $1,800 of clothes at the thrift store. Like, invest in your business, invest in your mentorship, be around people who are aligned. Give your money to people who are going to mentor you in the right direction. Yes? RomyMarlowe.com. You can go there for all the things. I love you. I honor you. Stay on common. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding my heart and my space while I cried about my mummy. The 14th will be a year and a half. August, I think February 14th is a year and like 6 months that she's been gone. It'll be 2 years this August. I can't even believe it. It's crazy. But you know what? Every day I'm grateful that I had her as long as I did, because I am here because of her. Is that not crazy? Yeah, all of my calls are at the same time. They're all at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday here on Instagram. But tomorrow, I just want to share with you, tomorrow I'm actually going to be on the road traveling at 9:30. Okay? So tomorrow, I'm going to put a story up letting you guys know what time I'm coming on. Tomorrow is Legacy Business Live, day 2 part of stepping into your calling. So watch my stories. Make sure you're following me. Make sure that you've got your notifications on, because when I have time, I'll come in the live, but it won't be in the morning. And I don't want to do it when I'm driving. That's not safe, especially on the highways. So I will do it when I get to the hotel, which might be around 3 or 4 in there. I don't know. Okay? I love it. I love you. Have an incredible day. RomyMarlowe.com. Go sign up for the Crushing It Collective. And when you get in the Crushing It Collective, by the way, now I have this new thing where if you're in the Crushing It Collective, you come into the Uncommon Woman Global Ministry for free. You get 2 in 1. I actually have to tell all the women that. Okay. I love you. Thank you, Alita. You're amazing. I love all of you. Okay. Gotta go.